Good morning. We are extremely pleased that you are here. It is good to come together for the purpose of co-creating. Do you agree?
Yes.
We agree. You're knowing what you are wanting?
Yes.
Feels good to have desire, doesn't it? Does it? If it does, then that means your beliefs are not far from your desires. If you want something that you doubt, then that desire doesn't feel so good. But when you have a desire and you are willing to allow it to evolve, and you have figured out how to stay satisfied while it's evolving, so while it's in its vibrational form, its thought form, its idea form, its imagined form, its anticipated form, you feel good about it. That's such a nice way to be. That's what living happily ever after is. But if you need it to manifest right now, if you're not willing to allow it to evolve and become and harmonize with cooperative components, if you need the manifestation in order to feel good, that's rough, because it's not going to manifest immediately. And if you need it to, then you are focused upon its absence. And when you're focused upon its absence instead of its vibrational presence, then you don't feel good. And most of the time you can't figure out why you don't feel good. Well, you think it's because it hasn't manifested, but it can't yet, any more than when you put the seed in the ground. It's not going to become an immediate vegetable producing thing. It's going to be something you can't see for a while, and you're going to tend to it if you're a smart farmer, even though you can't see it, because you trust the process. And that's really what we want to talk about with you in these hours that we're together. We want to help you to understand the process, because only then can you trust the process. And then once you understand the process and trust the process, then you can begin to enjoy the process. And when you're enjoying the process, then things really begin to unfold for you. And most important, you feel happy in the process of the evolving. You know, every day your life helps you to identify yet new desires and add to or amend desires that are already underway. And in the moment that this new inclination or preference happens within you, all forces begin moving for the gathering of the cooperative components for the creation of it. Everything is cooperating with you and what you want, except you. Sometimes you do, sometimes you cooperate better than others, but what we mean by that is sometimes you have picked up a belief along your physical trail that doesn't blend. It's a belief that is not really a cooperative component with the desire that you have just identified, that you have just added to. So when you have an uncooperative belief with a desire that matters to you, you introduce resistance into the mix. And that's really our only advantage to you, is that we may be able to help you to understand what those uncooperative beliefs feel like, so that you can either not let those uncooperative beliefs be so active and therefore so intrusive and therefore so resistant and therefore so hindering to your desires, or you can bridge them, modify them, understand them, see the positive aspects in them. So we want to talk about what influence am I under? Am I under the influence of my inner being? If I am, I feel really good. Or am I under the influence of something else? And you can tell it. this very simple way. This is such a wonderful distinction. When you feel satisfied, think about satisfied. Satisfied is not really an emotion that has a lot of momentum around it. It's not like ecstasy. It's not like enthusiasm. It's not like bouncing off the wall enthusiasm. It's not like passion. It's not even like love or appreciation. It's satisfaction. It's soft and gentle, and it holds no resistance. And because it holds no resistance, it can't stay that soft and gentle. It's going to pick up momentum for sure. It's going to move into faster moving energy, and it's going to feel more and more powerful and more exhilarating and more exciting. So think about satisfaction or dissatisfaction or unsatisfied. Really a fine line, but if you can figure out the difference, then you will know more and more whether you are encouraging law of attraction to respond to something that's going to get feeling better and better, or whether you are allowing law of attraction to respond to something that's going to get feeling worse and worse, because law of attraction is responding to whatever you are offering vibrationally, and it will become more. That's just how it works. Some years ago we wrote a book called Ask and It Is Given. Really a good book, because when you ask, it is given. You just don't know it. We've been explaining what we mean by it ever since. When you ask, it is given. We just gave you a really good explanation today of how it's given. But just because it's given, just because it's revealed, doesn't mean you let it in, doesn't mean you receive it, doesn't mean you realize it. Because you might have a vibration going on, and even though it's being given and given, you miss it. Because you're looking for love in all the wrong places. You're not looking for it sometimes where it is. Sometimes you are. We don't want to make it sound like all of your beliefs are in your way. Many of them are helping you in so many ways. But we do want you to figure out how to differentiate between what beliefs are under the receiving mode of your source and what beliefs are under the receiving mode of something else. And if you will start paying attention. So in this book, a big premise of this book was the emotional guidance scale. And it starts with emotions that don't feel so good. Sometimes we talk about not feeling good emotions as being down here, like depression and fear, all the way up through frustration. And right in the middle is contentment, which is what Esther translated our now satisfaction word into at that time. Contentment was the word she found. Today we're saying satisfaction or satisfied, but we mean the same thing by it. All the way up to feeling appreciation and love and all of those good feelings, emotions. Sometimes we move the scale this way, sometimes we move the scale this way. Doesn't really matter. We just want you to know that there's a scale and that you can feel where you are on it. So if you are aware that right in the center where it's easy, it could go either way. Esther remembers going to San Francisco, seeing those streets. She couldn't believe cars drove on them. She couldn't believe they drove up. She couldn't believe they drove down. And because it got such attention of hers, it was such an impressive experience for her that first time and second time and third time and last time. We gave her an analogy about that. We said, imagine being at the top of that hill. You can see the bay way down there, straight shot right into the bay. Imagine taking your parking brake off, taking your car out of gear, and deciding that you're going to give yourself a little physics lesson just to see what would happen if you just pushed your car forward just a little bit. So you get out behind it and you shove it just a little bit. It's hard, but not that hard. And as you push it, with very little, far less than you'd think, pushing, it starts to gather momentum. But you're really, really smart. And you know what momentum means in terms of physics and gravity and inertia. So you decide you've changed your mind. You don't like how this idea is shaping up. So you catch it early and you just step right out in front of that car and it bumps you a little bit, but it stops because you caught it early in the momentum. But you wouldn't want to be at the bottom of that hill stopping that car. In fact, you might be at the bottom of the hill, but you wouldn't be stopping that car. And so that's what we want you to think about what satisfaction is. It's right there where you can stop it if it's moving into dissatisfaction, or you can promote it into satisfaction. You have control at those early stages that later the laws of the universe won't let you have. The law of gravity, the law of inertia, and the law of attraction. None of those laws will let you have that kind of control once it gets going, until you sleep. And when you sleep or meditate, and when you meditate, the momentum stops, and now you can begin to exercise your control again. Helpful? We're going to be talking a lot about that here today as we're moving forward. We're eager to talk with you about anything that is important to you. Don't worry about us. We will wedge our message in the crack. And it is our expectation that together that you will discover some beliefs that you hold that are in your way, that you didn't know were in your way because you were not evaluating them by whether they feel satisfying or unsatisfying. You were not evaluating them by whether they were helpful to you or hindering to you. You were not evaluating them by whether they let your desires move freely down a path of least resistance, or whether they hinder your creation and put a lot of resistance on your trail. You were only evaluating them by their longevity, by how many other people believe them. You were seeking mutuality with others. Well, this is what my mother said, and it's what my father said, and it's what they always taught me, so it's what I say. Somebody who was wiser, or it's what I concluded erroneously when I had an experience and I came to that conclusion because I didn't have the bigger picture. And so with very short-sightedness, I came to a conclusion that doesn't serve me, that doesn't blend with the laws of the universe, that doesn't help me in any way, shape, or form, but I just keep updating it. It happened 20 years ago. 20 years ago that thing happened to me, and I talked about it 19 years, 18 years, 17 years, 16. I talked about it yesterday, in fact. I keep updating it. I keep it active in my vibration, and it's still in my way, and I know it's in my way because it never feels good when I think about it. It always feels bad when I think about it. It always hinders me every time. I get that lump in my stomach, and if I don't do something about it, then it goes down and it rolls right into the bay, and then I've got that to deal with. We've enjoyed this interaction immensely. What do you want to talk about? Some things. Well, it's going to be a really good day. It's going to be a really, really good day. All right, so relax. Let's have fun. If we don't call on you, don't freak out. Listen to what we're saying. We've got you. We understand you. You're doing better than you think. Start right here.
Don't forget to leave a positive message and subscribe.